Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me? Yes. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Toledo on this wonderful July 27th. I will be the service associate here today. My name is Melissa Jeter. I'm also a UU candidate for ministry. I am, as my tag says, Minister in Formation. I am here with Bonnie Olson, and Randy Ritchie is going to be at the piano today. Kristen Olson will tell today's story, and the tech crew is led today by Andy Gottman as director, Krista Schneider controlling the cameras, and Jeff Slauson at the soundboard. Walter McGee, our producer, is away, and he'll be back with us presenting the sermon on August 10th with Julia McGee, his spouse. We have many more volunteers helping too, with greeters in the lobby, religious education helpers. I see Arun was here talking to me earlier. Today's religious education activities will be outside of here, but we have also a kitchen crew preparing coffee hour led by Carla Logan Mercer. So, the only doctrine, if we were to have a doctrine, because we are not a creedal church, is love. Love is the power that is holding us together. It is the center of our shared values. If you want to know what those shared values are, they are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. We hold and are held together by these values. We welcome everyone as we sang in our song, the visitor song there. You may, if you are a visitor, notice that there is a pew rack in front of you, and there's a yellow card there. In that yellow card, you could help us out by completing that. You could put that in the basket during the offertory time. We also welcome all of the folks who are joining us on YouTube, the Toledo Unitarians YouTube channel. We hope this time serves your spirit.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Olson, and let me add to Melissa's welcome. The flame of the chalice that we light in our services symbolizes courage and illumination, and honors the search for truth and meaning. Let us say the words for chalice lighting together. They're on the screen and in our order of service. Our chalice has the spirit of Unitarian Universalism. We light it centered in love. May it glow with sacredness and shine for each and for all. And now join me in the covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
So we are going to move on to a spiritual practice right now. In this first of 3 intentional times of spiritual practice in our Sunday services, we look beyond ourselves, considering celebrations and sorrows and the state of things. Let us consider the social climate today. There are people among us today whose status may be very insecure, and there are people who are concerned about an erosion of fundamental kindness, compassion, and morality. Still, there are people who join us and choose, in the midst of pain, love, hope, and joy. In our awareness of ourselves and our environment, let us make plans, decisions. Let us work those plans through affirmation, through actions, listening, observing, and integrating new information. Let us plant seeds in the fertile ground of our awareness of our beingness so we can grow, release habits that no longer serve us, and become intentional about where we want to go. This space is where we engage intentionally in ritual to acknowledge that there is something worthy about living life in community. Here, we set aside the conventional to be present to ourselves, each other, and our communities. Here, we can become confident in the possibilities of each other's harvest. Let's continue to have First Unitarian be a place of welcome, grace, even of refuge from hard times. And that in this liberal religious community, we can help one another care for ourselves and have our part in changing the world too. Please share mercy and dignity, and remember to breathe. One reason we join in religious gatherings is to realize common links. The uncommon is here too. Let's be together in faith, hope, and love. Let it be so. You might have noticed in the order of service that all the music today are spirituals. Spirituals were used as codes on the Underground Railroad. What we have traditionally seen in the music was about getting to the promised land, heaven. Today, when you sing or listen, think of the promised land as Canada and freedom. So when you sing with enthusiasm. Here we go. Good news, the chariot's coming, printed in your order of service. Please stand if you are able, or tap your feet.
Screen. Good news, the chariot's coming. Good news, the chariot's coming. Good news, the chariot's coming, and I don't want it to leave me behind. There's a long white robe in heaven, I know. There's a long white robe in heaven, I know. There's a long white robe in heaven, I know. And I don't want it to leave me behind. Enthusiasm, good news. The chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, and I don't want it to leave me behind. There's a starry crown in heaven, I know. There's a starry crown in heaven, I know. There's a starry crown in heaven, I know. And I don't want it to leave me behind. Good news, the chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, a golden harp in heaven, I know. There's a golden harp in heaven, I know. There's a golden harp in heaven, I know. And I don't want it to leave me behind. Good news, the chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, good news. The chariot's coming, and I don't want it to leave me behind. Amen. Jenny Gottman is away today, and Kristen Olson will be telling the story to the children.
Hello. Hi, guys. So, you can, if you've ever heard of the Underground Railroad, what is it? Who could tell me? Yeah.
The Underground Railroad
Is what?
is where one is how slaves escaped.
Very good. And so, Underground Railroad, is it underground? Is it actually like underground, like a subway? No. Is it a train? Like a, no. It's underground because it's a secret, right? So how did it work?
This is only some. No.
It's okay. You just tell me, and I'll repeat it. You forgot? Okay. So it's where people help an escaped slave from house to house, right? And it's secret, and they had places to go where they slept. Yeah? Good. He said that the people that have already escaped sent back songs to leave cues for other people to go, right? Very good. So I'll give you a little history on that. So slavery was legal in the United States from 1600s until 1885. African people were kidnapped from their homes and brought to America in ships. When those people had children, the law said those children had to be slaves. And slaves were treated in all kinds of horrible ways, right? It's not, yes. So the people, because they were taught, so why do you think the people allowed that kind of thing? I mean, do you have any idea? What do you think? Right, and maybe because that's the only thing they knew. If you were brought up that way and you thought that's just the way it is, even though it is wrong, they just said, well, that's the way it is. So I want you guys to use your imaginations a little bit. Look at me. You got your imagination on? Okay. So imagine that you were a person who was born a slave and you intend to escape on an Underground Railroad. You've heard people whisper about it. You don't personally know anyone that's ever successfully escaped, but you know that if you escape and are recaptured, that you are probably going to be punished severely. So you've heard that there are good people that can help you escape, and you don't know them, and they probably won't be paid. But you've heard that, you're also have heard that there's other people who try to capture you on your way and send you back into slavery. So everything that you've heard is a rumor. You can't go look anything up. You don't know how to read. And everything is by gossip. So it's really scary to take that journey, don't you think? Yeah. So, I mean, because you don't know, is it true? Is it not true? Someone could just be lying. So now imagine that you're a free person and you think slavery is evil, and you have a house or a barn or a building that could be a stop on the Underground Railroad, somewhere people could safely hide, get some food and some sleep. Now, if you were that person, could you talk to anybody about it? No, because what would happen to you for helping people? Because this is something that's illegal. Yes, that's right. You could be severely punished too. So how many hundreds of thousands of people do you think said, I think slavery is horrible, but I don't want to go to jail for it? Yeah, a lot. 552 million. So here's some questions you guys can think about. What kind of laws do you think exist in our country right now that are not right? What do you think is our responsibility to fight those laws? And do you want to be people that stand aside and do nothing, or what do our UU values say? All right, what do you guys think? Think help, right? Do what we can? All right, now the children get to leave. Thank you very much.
As you pray, may you be filled with gladness. Go enjoy. May fortune bless your day with peace and loving kindness. Go in love. You may have also noticed that I have reversed the usual order of the meditative part of our service. I was lucky enough to attend a UU women's retreat where Carolyn McDade, who is the author of this song, was the keynote speaker. The hymn, loved by UUs everywhere, always seemed like an invitation to me. So we're going to sing that first, and then at the end, we'll sing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, in keeping with our spirituals.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving light the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Hopefulness in bad times. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however a small way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. And now, let us have 1 minute of silence while we think on these things. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
The reading I have is History's Road by Marjorie Bowens-Wheatley and Clyde Grubbs. The road of history is long, full of hope and disappointment. In times past, there have been wars and rumors of wars, violence and exploitation, hunger and homelessness, and destruction of this earth, your creation. We have become a global village with a growing realization of how fragile this earth is and how interconnected we are to each other and to all creation. We cannot continue to live in the old way. We must make a change, see a new a way towards peace and justice and a healthy planet. O great creative spirit, you have given a vision of the good, and we yearn for a new way. But where are we to find the courage to begin this work? We know that a different tomorrow is possible, but how can we build it? We think of the prophets, women and men who voiced unpopular opinions, who made personal sacrifices, and sometimes lost their lives for the sake of justice. We think of Isaiah, who called out to let those who are held in captivity go free, to give solace to the poor and homeless. Let us be inspired by all who work to overcome misery, poverty, and exploitation. We think of Harriet Tubman, who called out to people of goodwill to join her on an underground railroad, to lift a dehumanized people from the bondage of slavery, to the promise of freedom, and even when it meant challenging unjust laws. Let us be inspired by those who are outlaws for freedom. We think of Gandhi, whose belief in soul force, the witness to love's truth, helped to overthrow the oppression of an empire and gave witness to the non-violent way of action. Let us be inspired to become witnesses for peace. We think of Chief Seattle, who reminded us that we belong to the earth, not the earth to us. Let us be inspired by all those who work for the healing of creation, of Mother Earth and all of her creatures. Who are the prophets who inspire you? They may be well known or known only to you, offering personal inspiration, courage, and hope. May they join a great cloud of witnesses to a new way of life, the way of peace and justice, the way of justice lived according to the way of peace. Beloved community, so may it be. Amen.
Make sure you can see, you're sitting where you can see the monitor, because there's going to be a lot of pictures here that in my talk today. So if you need to move up or over, please do. The monkey wrench turns the wagon wheel towards Canada. With the help of Jesus the carpenter, follow the bear's trail, thank you. Fill your baskets with provisions to get you to the crossroads. When you're there at the crossroads, dig a log cabin in the ground. Shoefly told us to dress up in cotton and satin bow ties. Follow the wild geese and the birds in the air. Stay on the drunken path and take the sailboat to the North Star above Canada. I've always loved quilts. When I was little, I used to sleep under my grandmother's quilts, and I was lucky enough to have inherited a couple that I still have. Quilters are a different kind of people. They cut up beautiful fabrics, and they rearrange them into patterns and sew them back together again to make things even more beautiful to them. I retired from teaching in 2004, and top on my list of things to learn how to quilt. And so we moved here to Northeast Ohio from Illinois, and I took my first quilting class. I also joined a quilt guild, and I kept on taking classes. In 2006, I took a class called the Underground Railroad. Yes, and that is what you see here today. Then, fast forward 21 years later, in the same quilt guild, we had a speaker just in June, and she had an even bigger quilt up in front with more blocks in it, and she told us about this book called Hidden in Plain View by Jackie Tobin and Raymond Dubard. I got the book afterwards, and I was absolutely fascinated by all of what was in it. So that's why I volunteered to do this program today. In 1994, Jackie, who was an educator at the University of Colorado, teaching research and writing, and she was interested in sweetgrass baskets. So she went to Charleston, South Carolina, where they have this huge market called the Old Market. It's at least 100 years old. Back in the old days, they sold produce and animals that were killed, and maybe live too, I'm not sure. Anyway, today it's more of crafts. And she was interested in these sweetgrass baskets that African American women were making there. And they had learned from their ancestors. And so she wanted to learn more about them. She was also very interested in women as the history of things that they did. So she went to this, and before she got to the sweetgrass baskets, she noticed a woman with a quilt stall. And so she remembered her grandmother as a quilter, and she went over to this stall, and here was this small African-American woman surrounded by all these beautiful quilts. And she said to Jackie, "Look, did you know that quilts were used by slaves to communicate on the Underground Railroad?" And Jackie was really surprised, and she had never heard this before. She looked at all the quilts, and she bought one and to take it home. And after she got home, next slide. After she got home, she had a receipt from, the woman's name was Ozella McDaniel Williams. And she kept thinking about these stories and quilts and the Underground Railroad. So she called the phone number on this receipt, and she said, she reminded her of who she was, and she said, I'm interested in these stories. I want to hear more about that. And Ozella was rather curt to her, and she said, "You'll learn when you're ready." She hung up. And Jackie was like, "Okay, what do I do now?" Well, she did what she did best. She started research, and she got in touch with African American quilters, folklorists, African textile experts, and finally, she met Dr. Raymond Dubard, who was an art history professor at Howard University, an African American, and a renowned quilter. Bingo! She thought she had her collaborator. And she told him all about meeting Ozella, and suggested that he contact her. She said she was pretty curt with me on the phone, and maybe you would have more influence being a quilter, an African American. And he said, no, she has some kind of connection with you. You need to contact her and find out this story. She wants to tell you her story. Well, she spent 3 more years researching. And in that research, you're not advancing the slides. I want them to see. Yeah, there you go. In that research, they showed where many of the enslaved people were captured along the coast of Africa. They also found in those tribes of Africa, there were secret societies, sort of like our Masons that have all secret symbols and secret. And in these African societies, they had a men's and a women's, well, like Masons do too. And in that, they taught the young people were initiated into the society, boys, girls, and they taught them their culture. They taught them how to spin fibers. They taught them to read secret messages in textiles. They learned drums and how to send messages in drums and pass these on to their children, which kept going until they were enslaved in America, and they still knew a lot of those things that their ancestors learned in Africa. But a couple of other facts here. The first Americans arrived in Jamestown in 1619. If you know your history, that's a year before the Pilgrims and Mayflower and all that. 20, came as indentured servants at that time, not slaves. But 20 years later, in the colonies, they voted to sanction the African Americans as slaves, where the white indentured servants got to still be indentured servants. And then, 1700, the Mason Society was formed. But here's an interesting thing. In 1775, a man named Prince Hall started an African American society, Mason Society. And of course, here in the United States, they're not going to let any black people in, the Masons. So he went to England and they let him in and start a Mason Society. Came back to America. Well, what could they do? They had to let him in. So there was an African American Mason Society to continue some of those things that the African tribes had started. Okay, then, fast forward to today, the Underground Railroad quilt that I made in 2006 was Eleanor Burns, who's a pretty famous quilter with her own quilting show, read this book and made this pattern book, which, that's how I made this. However, I didn't know until I read this book that there were more codes than this. The speaker at our quilt guild had, I don't know, about 20 or so different blocks that she explained. And I'm going to show you some of them today. The first one is the Underground Railroad quilt, which was also known as Jacob's Ladder. It was not one of the code ones, so I put that, and you probably can't see them, I put that into the corners of the quilt. The name of Underground Railroad came from a plantation owner who was chasing a fugitive slave and swore that the man had vanished as if he was on some kind of underground railroad. In reality, the Underground Railroad was a network of abolitionists and safe houses. And now, the code. The monkey wrench, which was the first one up here. Many of you might have seen the wrench that's on the screen right now, and you're wondering what that has to do with this. And also, I wondered, why is it called a monkey wrench instead of just a wrench? Well, that one is one you can adjust, and the jaws go up, and the people who invented it, I guess, thought it looked like a monkey climbing a tree, so they called it a monkey wrench. And if you see the mouth part of it there, you can see that in this part of it. There's like one inside the other here. So the monkey wrench was also a person who, actually what this meant to, in the secret code, was to plan your escape. Gather your tools, this monkey wrench is a tool. Gather your tools for the journey. Both the physical tools, which you need implements for making shelters and determining directions like a compass and a knife, ways to defend yourself, maybe a gun, implements for the journey. But also, they needed mental tools. They needed cunningness. They needed alertness. And they needed knowledge. The wagon wheel. Oh, and this is a picture of a quilt that was the one before. The whole quilt was a monkey wrench. So this is what would be hung out for them to see, not just the block. I've done that with each block, is to do the block and then the quilt. Okay. The wagon wheel. Now, the wagon wheel, there are many blocks that have many different names. And this one is also called the Dresden plate. And I think Eleanor Burns chose it because this was a sampler quilt. And with sampler quilts, they use them to teach different techniques in quilting. And so she tried to keep it to easier versus more complicated. And this was easier than the other wagon wheel quilts. The secret code in wagon wheels is that the wagon is coming soon. Pack your provisions to fit in a space in a wagon. Now, a lot of the conductors that helped them get away had wagons with a built-in compartment underneath whatever they were hauling, hay or whatever. So they would get the fugitives and put them in this little space underneath. And then if anybody stopped them, well, I'm just taking my hay to market or whatever. So that was one of their secrets. So this was a quilt, if that put that out, that says, the wagon's coming soon, and that was their chariot. That's why we sang swing low, the chariot's coming. The chariot was the wagon that was going to get them out of there. Okay, the carpenter block. This is the carpenter block. So they made them leave whatever religion that they had in Africa, and they had to go to a Christian church. So they got to go on Sunday morning and be alone with their own minister. And like I said, there were secret codes in the songs that they sang. So that chariot was coming soon. Okay, so Jesus the carpenter meant they were going to plan their escape. The enslaved people on the plantation were aware of the plan and who was going. After the escape, the bloodhounds were released, and the remaining slaves on the plantation, began to loudly sing.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. Looks like an Israelite. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in red. God's gonna trouble the water. Looks like band that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
So that song was a warning for the escapees to go to the nearest water and enter it to avoid their scent being detected by those bloodhounds. This could extend to other plantations who also knew about the planned escape. So if they sang "Wade in the Water," they were to get in the water. The next one was the bear paws block, and that one is to follow the bear trail. Many routes on the Underground Railroad were on the Appalachian Mountains, and they could follow an actual bear trail that they had left, and this would indicate the best path, because the bear knows, right? And it was like a road map through the mountain, and also the bears would stop for food and water, and that led the fugitives to food and water. Basket block. Fill your basket with enough food and water to get you through. Simple. When they stopped at safe houses along the way, I'm not sure if that applies to the Appalachians, but other routes where there were safe houses, the owners would replenish their supplies for their baskets. The crossroads block. Ohio was a really important state in the Underground Railroad. I did not know this until I moved here and started to learn about it, and especially after reading this. So Cleveland was a big crossroads, but also Sandusky, which is even closer to us than Cleveland. I didn't realize that either. That was a big port for the Underground Railroad. Now, people escaped not only by land, but by water, sea, lake, river, and canal. There's an interesting book called Master, Slave, Husband, Wife, and this won a Pulitzer. It was about a married couple. The woman was very light-skinned, and her husband was darker, so she dressed like a man, and he was her slave. And by water, they made it all the way and escaped. That is. When you get to the crossroads, dig a log cabin in the ground. Notice I said the word dig. Now, Ozella thought that it meant that there was a cabin there or they were to build a cabin, but the researchers, Jackie and Raymond, started, they really couldn't, they just couldn't get over that dig. So they went back to African customs and those secret codes. And they found when tribes met each other and they weren't sure if they were enemies or friends, they would take a stick, they would draw a symbol on the ground. And if the other person was a friend and knew that symbol, they would draw another one. And they theorize that that may have been why the code got passed down to dig a log cabin. It was for symbols. This is interesting chart in the book that compared quilt patterns, Masonic symbols, and African symbols and Masonic. And you would really be surprised at the similarities in those. Did I show you the one? No, I guess I skipped that one. It was maybe during the secret societies when I was talking about those that had the mask and it had a tattoo on the forehead, and it was exactly the 9 patch, which is one of the first things that young children learn to make, 9 little blocks all sewn together. And of course, in the old days, they did it all by hand. Shoe fly, this is the shoe fly block. Actually, it is that much of it, and these are 4 of them put together. Shoe fly was a helper to help them get ready to get to Canada. And remember what I said about secret codes in spirituals? Melissa's going to sing again, and there are some words in there that have secret codes, and I'll tell you about it after the song.
Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. My Lord, He calls me by the thunder. The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. Green trees are bending, poor sinners stand a-trembling. Our trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here.
He calls me by the thunder. Leave in a rainstorm, because then the dogs have no scent to pick up, and footprints will wash away. Green trees bending, leave in the summer. I think there was a verse that we didn't get to about tombstones, telling them to hide in graveyards. Another verse says, lightning, that could help illuminate the landscape, yet not very long, just enough to give your position away, not long enough to do that. And the final one with trumpet was freedom. So Shufly told them to dress up in cotton and satin bow ties. And if you look at the sideways one here, it'll show you, you can see a bow tie in that. Another name for this block is hourglass. And this way you can see it like an hourglass. Well, by the time they had gone through all that, getting to the crossroads, they were pretty raggedy looking, and they would show up to slave catchers. So people in the churches gave them fresh clothing to wear so they would blend in with the free blacks and people that were there. The next block is flying geese. And that is this one. It's getting kind of low for you to see it, but you can see it on the monitor there. And the one at the side, and I've been quilting for 21 years, and I don't know, it's always called flying geese. If you're just making one, is it a goose? Because they're always put together. Like you see there are a bunch of them, 9 on this one. So that made the block. And that was to fly north. In the spring was the best time to escape. And it also gave you directions. Look at this quilt. Where it's pointed, the way it's hung, it could point to the directions that you're supposed to go. And this next one is similar. Birds in the air can also be a directional one, like a map. And look how it shows you on this fence post the direction to go, which way it's pointing to. And there are a couple of others that weren't on the block that I'm going to tell you about now, that Ozella told. One was these quilts. She did tied quilts, and you can see the little ties on them. I have one from my quilt guild. Well, we make baby quilts for moms in need, and they are all tied rather than quilted on the machine. And Ozella said that there was a secret in those ties. You tie them like square knots. And if it was 2 square knots, it meant something. If it was 4 square knots, it meant something else. 5 square knots was something else, but it was a code. And the other one in this picture shows you the back side of the square knots, and it's a grid. They were like 2 inches apart, so they could tell the people that were going how, usually their stops were 5 or 10 miles apart, and they could tell you how to go up this one, down that one, up this one, 2 up, 2 down. It was the grid. And another one, next one, was, this shows you the star quilt. And this one is not geometric like the others, so it would be easy to hide a little map in between the stars. And that's a close-up of the little message, which I don't know what it meant, but that was a way that they did. Okay, follow the drunkard's path. What in the world did that mean? Did that mean they were all supposed to get drunk on their way? No. Do you see how it zigzags around? You know how a bullet goes straight? I've always heard, never had the occasion to use it, that a bullet goes in a straight line. That's the only way it can. So if you zigzag around, it can't get you. Well, the same thing here, that if the fugitives doubled back and zigzagged, the slave catchers have made it much harder to catch them. There is a quilt with a drunken path quilt. And now we're getting close to the end of the journey, the sailboat. They had to get on a boat to cross the big Great Lake to get to Canada, which was free did not have slavery. And so it was also another means of escape. The map I showed you earlier had all those routes, and a lot of them were water routes, like the couple that went. They went mostly by water. So they needed to get on a boat and follow the North Star, which you know is in the top of the Big Dipper. And a dipper could be like a drinking gourd.
When the sun comes back and the quail cries, follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. On the riverbank makes a very true road. Dead trees will mark the way. The left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now a river ends in between 2 hills. Dead trees will mark the way. There's another river on the side of the road. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking sinking gold, for the old man awaiting to carry you to freedom.
There were, besides what I put on here, there were a few more that were in a different code. One was the double wedding ring, where Ozella said that meant that they should get legally married because most of them had just jumped the broom, but being legally married would help them when they got to Canada. And this is a wedding ring star. It's a complicated one to do. Tumbling blocks, which is this one over here, that's kind of an optical illusion to look like blocks meant to pack boxes, another way to say it. And then there's one called the cathedral, which is on the monitor there, which told them to hide in churches and caves. A lot of times caves look like cathedrals. Besides quilts and spirituals, there's another method of sending messages. In African societies, the drum played a powerful role in sending messages to other tribes. But in America, slaves were forbidden to use drums. And as I told you before, they were forced into the religion of their owners, Christianity, which gave them an opportunity to sing and shout and sway to the music. And it led to tapping their feet, their heels. I don't know if you can do it. Let's try it. Just tap your heels, and I will tell you what to do. All right, ready? Heels twice. Heels once. Left heel. Left heel, right heel. Nah, it doesn't work in here on the carpeting. But that practice there led to tap dancing, which I just think is so fascinating. Where did tap dancing come from? And as fascinating as this topic is to me, a war was fought and won with the loss of many, many lives. Slavery was abolished, but people of color lived under oppressive conditions in their native states. Civil rights were fought for and finally written into the Constitution. And yet, still we are climbing Jacob's ladder. Climbing, climbing on. Offering.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you so much. It is now time for the offering. At this time for the offering, we will pass the baskets here in the sanctuary. All of you, including our YouTube viewers, can also donate electronically or by mail. Thank you for being generous and for helping Unitarian Universalism thrive in Toledo. For our offertory hymn, let us sing I'm on My Way, number 116. spiritual adventures part. Join us. Okay, here we go. It's the coming soon part of the service. We are here, where we tell you what's on the calendar for next week. We give you some announcements, and we also will let you know what's coming up right after service. Now, I'm walking away because I have an announcement that I have misplaced. But who gave me that announcement? I do not see them. Yes. There's produce from the garden for people in the fellowship hall. Okay, so right after service, we can go there. We have join us for Spiritual Forum on next Sunday, August 3rd at 9:45 a.m. when David Strickler will continue our series of ukulele lessons. Come prepared to watch, learn, and perhaps play along. Our ukulele orchestra is taking shape. And for 11 a.m. service next Sunday, Joe Moran will bring a sermon titled, War, What Is It Good For? A Vietnam retrospective. Joe will take us on his personal journey, and as he speaks to the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War in 1975, and place it in the general context of war altogether. Our church has many, many activities, some of which you may be interested in. Please check our website, uutoledo.org, or our UUFYUI newsletter, accessible from the website for upcoming events. Now, let's see, what else do we have? Okay, after the service, we're done, is to meet, we're going to go to Fellowship Hall. Everyone is invited, where Carla and her crew in the kitchen are ready to serve you after today's service for coffee, conversation, and social time. Just go down the hall and follow the crowd to the left. And Julia McGee. It's Potluck Sunday, people. So if you're hungry, you can go right on down the hallway. All right, spiritual practice. Let's get to that last spiritual practice. And we really do appreciate Carla and the kitchen crew. Ooh, take a breath, everybody.
I think I'm supposed to do it now.
You want to do that? Okay.
Let's have one more observance of spiritual practice. We have gone beyond ourselves and turned within for meditation, contemplation, and prayer. Now, recognizing the Buddhist thread in our congregation, we will share a time of metta, having for and sending to all beings love and kindness and compassion. We also have pagans among us, so we will follow that with a Wiccan rite. Let's recite together. May I, may we, and may all beings be well, be happy, be peaceful, be safe, awaken to the light of our true nature, and be free. And ye harm none, do what you will. I think you have to go down to do the... We send the flame from our Universalist Unitarian chalice with love on which we center everything to fire up the world and spread equality, generosity, interdependence, justice, pluralism, and transformation.
Go in peace, holding, knowing, and centering love in your lives and sharing love in your actions. Merry meet, merry part, and blessed
meet
be.
Again.
Excuse me. I'm sorry for this uncanny interruption. I tried to do it during announcements and I couldn't figure it out. I accidentally left a library book out in the lobby or in the coffee area. It's not mine. If anybody accidentally picked up a book by George Sanders, please see me. Sorry, I tried to get it in.
We will have Randy play number 1057, Over My Head by Horace Clarence Boyer. Thank you. There's music in the air, up above my head. There's music in the air. I really believe there must be a God somewhere. Over my head.
I don't know what the rest verse is.
It's over there. I hear singing in the air.
Mary?
Over my head, I hear singing in the air. There must be a God somewhere.